Hey, what's up? My name is Chris #2 from the band ANTIFLAG, and you, my friends, are watching EMP. Peace.
Hi guys, it's Elena from EMP. I'm at Slamdunk 2021 and I'm here with Chris #2 from ANTIFLAG. Hi!
Hi, we are in England on the hottest day they've ever had, apparently.
Literally, like the only hot day this summer, so you brought like some sunshine with you.
Yeah, it's actually really surprising, but those of us that, it's funny because in Pittsburgh, where we're from, it was 90 degrees and like boiling hot. And my partner and I, we came to London like a week before. And in those 5 days, I got used to English weather, and now I'm like, oh my God, but...
the sunshine anymore, yeah.
Much cooler here than it is back home.
So it's still like a nice break from the heat to go back home,
exactly.
Yeah. So other than like the temperature difference and stuff, how does it feel to be back in the UK?
Honestly, yesterday was our first show in almost 600 days. So we're just excited, and anything that happens it's like we're taking it in and we're enjoying it. There's nothing about this experience that we will speak ill of, because we've just been so anxious and ready to share our songs and our ideas. And honestly, the world has gone through so much grief and so much loss and so much pain because of the pandemic. You couple that with the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter protests in America and across the globe in the summer, and now with what's happening in Afghanistan, we're just so desperate to be around people who give a fuck, who care about more than just themselves. So to have this opportunity, we're really grateful for it, and we're very excited to be here.
That was actually going to lead to my next question. I was going to say how we witnessed so much in 2020, 2021, and there's an overall feeling of change is needed and in some ways overdue, so do you feel like in a way your songs are the message in your songs are more relevant now than they ever been?
Well, I mean, the art that we try to create is consistently either a reflection or a warning. So we're either trying to capture a moment and say, this is what was happening. These are the people who stood in opposition to pain and suffering and racism and bigotry, et cetera, et cetera. Or we're trying to say, hey, look, this is coming if we don't act now. And so I feel like that's why the songs maintain a relevancy, because unfortunately, the world is cyclical. And the problems that we face, you see things like the election of Donald Trump or the AfD in Germany or Boris Johnson here in the UK. False populism, it's not something that's new. The people that are in power will always exploit pain and suffering. And so we have to really be cognizant of that and pay attention to that, especially during the pandemic, where so many people are just desperate for help. And those are the first people that we prey upon to gain wealth, to gain power, to maintain wealth, to maintain power. So, yeah, I mean, we talk about this a lot, especially last summer, we have a song from 1996 called Fuck Police Brutality, and everyone's like, oh, ANTIFLAG's got a song for today, and they wrote it 30 years ago, and that's great, but, I mean, there's so many young people creating music and creating statements that are in the immediacy and now, and so we're grateful that anyone listens to us or cares about us, but we also want to make sure that we lift up and celebrate other people who are doing really courageous work, especially in trans communities and gay and lesbian communities and communities of color and beyond that.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. I feel like, with your music and the work you've done, in the last 20, 25 years, you guys inspired so many bands to speak up as well and use their platform and their music to also communicate their message and try and empower people, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we learned from, we learned from Os Rodden in Pittsburgh and the Bad Genes in Pittsburgh, and then we learned from the Clash in England, and we learned from the Dead Kennedys in California. So it's what I believe our version of punk rock is predicated upon, empathy.
Yeah.
Care about more than just yourself, and do whatever you can with whatever you can to talk to people about it. You don't have to be a great musician. You don't have to be very handsome. You don't have to be a beautiful person. Just get up there and say what's in your heart.
Yeah.
And people will react to that honesty, and they'll react to that intention.
Yeah, definitely. And like I feel like empathy is definitely like the key, like is the key word for what we need right now.
Absolutely.
And like talking about music, like is there any like album or artist that you kind of like been listening to in a loop recently?
Oh gosh, there's so much. I love this band from California called Grumpster. There's a band from our hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called the Homeless Gospel Choir that I love. Dollskin, who are playing here today. I just watched Creeper, who I love very much. Beyond that, I mean, there's some great music, a new record from our friend Evan Greer. We have a label, AF Records, and we've put out some really cool stuff. Devin K and the Solutions, Spanish love songs. So we're always trying to surround ourselves with young people who are doing cool shit, so that we can learn from them and steal from them and try to stay young for as long as we can. So.
And like talking about like a young band and up and coming bands, like what would you be your tip for? Oh, sorry, people screaming. Yeah. What would be the tip like for up and coming bands that like look up to you and the work you guys do?
Well, I mean, simply play music because you love it. Don't do it because you think you'll be famous or you'll make money. I mean, you might as well buy lottery tickets or stand in the street and hope you get struck by lightning. I mean, when we started our band, we wanted to play a show in New York City. And everything we've done since we left our parents' garage has been a win. It's been more successful than we ever thought it would be. So I think you just have to set your intention pure, and you have to create art because you have to, or because you have something to say and you want to say it. I mean, our drummer, Pat, he doesn't like music. He doesn't care about music. He's in a band to discuss politics and to meet people. And, you know, myself and Justin, the other singer, we love performing and we love sharing these stories. You know, that's our driving force. Chris Head, our other guitar player, he creates art. He does a lot of the art for the band, and that's what he wanted to do. So we just kind of put all of that together, and that's how the band was able to sustain this long, you know? So I think that's really the key, is
passion, like, rather than like, yeah.
Yeah, and if your intention is to make money, then go work at a bank, you know? But if your intention is to share stories and meet people, you'll find a way to make it work, you know? And that's, you know, there's no greater example of that than the last 2 years, where we just had to find a way to make it work, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And like, what's your favorite way to pass time when you're not touring? And is there any hobby that you maybe like rediscover or picked up during, like, you know, the 18 months of life?
Yeah. So normally I play ice hockey. That's my main thing. Over the pandemic, I started taking kung fu lessons. And so I've been doing that virtually via Zoom. And I have a Shifu, a master. He's a 34th generation Shaolin Kung Fu master. Yeah. And I take lessons with him and his team of trainers. And it's been really good because I needed some physical activity, but also something to calm my brain down, because there's so much worrying, there's so much hurt. Yeah. A lot of the meditation, a lot of the breathing, a lot of the pausing of social media and the world, it's very important, and that's kind of the backbone of Kung Fu, and so I've been very grateful to do that for the last year and a half.
That's amazing, yeah. And if you could grab a cup of coffee with a character from a movie, a book, or a TV series, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. I'm always happy when I ask something that, like, you know.
I think that mainly because this was on the television last night when we were going to bed, I'd love to have a coffee with Andy Dufresne, who was in Shawshank Redemption. He's the one who dug out of prison. He seems like the coolest guy on the world, in the planet, so I'd like to hang out with him.
Yeah, that's a cool answer, yeah. And would you say you have any hidden talent?
my ego doesn't allow any of my talents to be hidden. I try to show them whenever I have them. Yeah. So none of them are hidden. Maybe people underestimate how much curry I can eat. I can eat a lot of curry. Yeah.
You can like stomach all the curry possible. Well, that's a great talent to have. Yeah. And if you could be like a superhero for a day, who would you be and what would you do? Just one day. One day as a superhero. I mean, obviously, I think that I would like to be 11 from Stranger Things. Because it's just like you've got this perfect moment in time where you're the most powerful being that there is. Whereas like in other superhero worlds, there's other superheroes. And so I'm again, my ego wants me to be the only one. Yeah. And how about a supervillain? A supervillain. I really like Willem Dafoe, and so. I love Willem Dafoe. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind being the villain that Willem Dafoe was in the Spider-Man movie. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I can't think of the name right now, but I know which one. Yeah. Just because I want to embody Willem Dafoe for a bit. Yeah. Cool. So that's it for us. Thank you so much for your time. It was so lovely talking to you. Could you just leave us with a message for your UK and European fans? Yeah. Hello, I'm Chris Two from the band ANTIFLAG. My friends, dear friends in the UK and Europe, we are so desperately wanting to spend time with you, to see you all, to play a show for you all. Please stay safe, take care of one another, respect one another, and fight the fuck back. Peace. Thank you so much.